Okay. Welcome to Career Talk with Eno Chichi. Nice to have everyone who's listening to this. This podcast started as just a phone conversation between Eno and Chichi, talking about how can we help immigrants moving to Canada with their career strategies, whatever it is, to help them planning their move, or people who are already in Canada. Some people just need guidance and they don't know where to turn to. So we thought, hey, why don't we do this? So I kind of dragged Chichi along. So with one of my crazy ideas, and I'm going to let Chichi talk a bit about herself, and then I'll say a few things too.
Yeah, just the way Eno dragged me, I dragged her into other things I'm working up to. So yes, we like things like this. When I was talking to Eno a couple of weeks ago, we had a common conversation around helping people figure out how they wanted to settle in, or even before they even come here, like knowing what to do. So I'm so glad to be here. Thank you, Eno, for bringing me on board. It's really fun to actually be part of this, and I look forward to seeing how many people we can help with this. Even if it's just one person out there that learns from this, it would be really good. So a bit about myself. I am Chioma, that's my full name, but you can call me Chichi. I started as a business analyst at CGI not too long ago. But before that, I have a degree in business computing. And then at some point, I started working in a bank in Nigeria. And that's how I got into finance and became a chartered accountant. But long story short, right now, I am really passionate about helping people settling here in Canada, immigrants, and it's such a struggle moving to a new country, and actually being able to figure out how to seamlessly settle in and adapt can be quite challenging. So I am really passionate about that. And then something else I'm also passionate about is helping women and young girls to go beyond what it is that they have dreamt for themselves and achieving the goals that they want to achieve for themselves. I grew up doing this for my younger sisters, and I've been so impressed with their growth, and even for other young girls out there that have come to me for guidance at one point or the other, plus my friends. So I have got really driven into this, and that's another part of me that I really love being active in, apart from helping immigrants, because Eno and I are also immigrants as well, and so far we've found a way to kind of figure out certain things that we'd want to share with others. So helping ladies, young girls, helping immigrants, and being a business analyst are more or less just a snapshot of who I am. Maybe as time goes on, you get to learn more. But let me give it to Eno now to talk more about herself and tell us what it is that she's done so far. And we can take up the topic from there for today.
Thank you, Eno.
Yeah.
So, a little about myself. My name is Eno. I'm an immigrant to Canada. I moved to Canada sometime last year in 2018. I'm a business analyst with Solar Solutions. That's a digital tech company here in Canada. My first degree was in accounting, and then I had a postgraduate degree in strategic management and leadership. I have experience that cuts across IT, banking, oil and gas, construction, basically on digital transformation projects. Basically what I've done so far. I moved to Canada and I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to still be in the business analysis field. And I found that because I was intentional and I was sure about what I wanted to do, I made sure I prepared ahead. And moving here, I did everything possible to make sure that I achieved my desire. A few things that I do, I'm a coach and mentor with helping other people succeed, which is also another organization of immigrants helping other immigrants as well in Canada. I'm a study group leader for the IIB Calgary chapter. I founded the Canadian Business Analyst and Project Managers Network. You can join our group on LinkedIn. I founded the Canadian Professional Immigrants Network. You can join our group as well on LinkedIn. I'm a mentor with Calgary Region Immigrant Employment Council. I'm a professional contributor for Almanac, which is a body of knowledge for project management and business analysis. I do provide consulting services when needed. I provide career coaching with upskill coach and providing business analysis instruction for the U of M, University of Manitoba, and of course, co-hosting this podcast with Chichi. So far in my 1 year in Canada, I've been recognized as a nominee for the Calgary Top 40 Under 40 class of 2019, and a woman of inspiration for the Canadian Business Chicks. Let me just give a brief background of moving to Canada. So for me, I'd always wanted to come to Canada. I don't know about Chichi, but I'd always wanted to come to Canada. So after my first degree,
Same here.
I applied for scholarships, and I didn't get one. I did get a few admissions, but it was so high. International school fees were so expensive. And because my sister was in a private university at that time, it was not just something we could afford, because my parents were like, well, she has to finish school first, then we can consider you. So I just decided, you know what, let me just go into the workforce. I started working. And I was just working, and just doing everything I could. So I decided to take a long distance UK master's degree. And somewhere along the line, I met a friend of mine, who told me about Canadian immigration program. And at first I was like, is this for real? I've heard about so many scam programs. So I finally, one day, did some research and found out it was authentic. And I started applying, and that's how I find myself here. So that's how the move to Canada started for me. So can you share your experience?
Sure, I can. So it's funny, we haven't talked about this before, but it's actually similar to mine. So I graduated from the University of Sunderland in 2012, and it was me and my sister then. And so moving from UK back to Nigeria, I was looking for a way to do my master's there in UK or just come to Canada and do my master's, but then it didn't work out. And so I applied. I knew how many times I got admissions and tried to to go for my master's. And then my younger siblings as well. The last two, we're in private school, just like Eno's sister. And yeah, and my mom told me, look, I can't do all this. I've given you your first degree. You should be okay. So figure it out somehow. So I just started working. I was working already then, but I just kept working, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to find a way out of this. And I shared it with a couple of my friends, and it was one of those friends that when she heard about the express, and she was like, Chuma, this is the kind of thing that you should probably do. Maybe you should just forget about your master's for now and maybe go this way. Maybe when you get there, you figure it out, and no, but I still want to do your master's and all that. And so that's how I started the process. And sometime in 2016, started the process, submitted and all that. And in 2018, I got my PR, and then I came over here. And before moving, I had a plan. I had different plans of, what I wanted to do. Maybe as we discuss further, we would go into exactly the steps we took, right? But I knew I had a plan on different plans, just in case one didn't work out the way I wanted. I just had option C, up to option C, A to C is what I call it sometimes. But that's how I moved. It's something I've always wanted to do, and I wanted to do it on my own terms. I didn't want to do it based on, doing it based in any other way that wasn't just street. So it's something I've always wanted to do, and I'm glad we finally got here, figured it out, right?
So I researched on the immigration program. I realized it was legitimate. I started making inquiries, and my application I applied in So I put in my application. That's what they call getting into the pool. I got into the pool. I got my ITA the next day. And when I finally submitted all my documents in July, by August, I was asked to send my passport for my visa. And people were like, you just started, like, how did you do it? And the funny thing is, I didn't even use any immigration consultant. It was just me. I did everything myself on my laptop. Using my phone to scan some things, take pictures. And I never had to pay anybody to do anything for me. It was all DIY.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that was thing for me too. Even though these days some people still wonder if they still will need someone to help, but then I mean everyone, I think different strokes for different folks.
exactly.
But I did mine myself as well, and I went through the whole process myself. The day I entered the pool, like say on a Saturday, and then the following Wednesday I got selected. It was so surreal. I didn't believe it at the time. But yeah, that's how it kind of happened for me. But then the waiting time was a bit longer for me. I think it was like 5 months or something. But
wow.
it was just devastating and everything, the emotions. but eventually pulled through. But yes, it was something that I definitely was glad that it was legitimate and I could do it myself, and I could come here and have the kind of life we wanted to have and I wanted to have. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. So for me, I think the whole application wasn't the reality for me until I held my passport, my visa in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is real. I do have my PR. So what are the next steps? If I'm going to move to Canada, what do I do? So I didn't know anybody here, no family. And that was where the real work started for me. I started researching a lot about Canada, about the provinces, about work and life here, and especially as regards to my career too, like what choices did I have,
Right.
as regards, business analysis or banking or accounting, having an accounting first degree. Like I just had to do a lot of research. And then as regards business analysis, I found out that I could still be a business analyst here. And thankfully, I had already gotten my certification in business analysis, my CBAP certification. So that was a good thing. And then I started taking some other courses online and in the classroom, trying to gain essential skills that I knew I would need here in Canada. I also started learning, a lot about the Canadian workplace, the culture, soft skills required in the workplace. And most importantly was also networking. So because I didn't know anybody here, I started trying to network with people, online, Facebook, LinkedIn, WhatsApp groups, anywhere I could just find a community of people who were already here and, I could get a little bit of guidance from. So those were like the three things that really helped me in preparing for my move to Canada.
Yes. So that's absolutely amazing, because I'm sure that things like that helped you. By the time you are coming here, you are not so lost per se. You kind of had at least some kind of guidelines to follow.
Yeah.
And that's something that is really, really important. For me, I had friends to talk to here. I had some people they introduced me to. I did my research, a lot of research. In fact, I thought I did a lot of research. And right now, when I look back, I'm like, I wish I could have done more research. Right? But I did as much as I could at the time. And having to combine it with planning a wedding as well for me at the time was really tough, because planning a wedding on its own is something that is quite stressful. But then having to even relocate on its own is stressful. But the combination was lethal. It was very painful. It was really painful. And what I just tried to do was to utilize the network I already had and try to get into their own network. I didn't do a research as extensive as I would have wanted. But what that helped me do was, because I already had plans on what I wanted to do, even when plan A didn't really work out or pan out as I wanted, I had plan B to fall back to, and eventually I ended up with plan C, which in hindsight right now, I wish it was actually my plan A, because my plan A, it's working out right now as if it's a plan A. It doesn't feel like a backup to a backup plan, if that makes any sense. But I really can't overemphasize planning, because I've spoken to a lot of people and they keep saying things like, oh, when I get there, I'll figure it out. I'll see what's going on there and I'll see what I can do. I don't think I should actually do much here. Let me even get the PR first. What that does to you is that you're not as prepared when you come here. And then the preparation time you would have had if you were back home when you're actually working, you will lose it, because when you come here, instead of you to start earning as early as possible and paying your bills and, you know, getting into the career you want and starting your career, you're actually using that time to now plan and prepare. And then you have bills that you have to pay and you have no income coming in. And then it starts becoming frustrating. It starts to become desperate. You start making choices that ordinarily you wouldn't make. Right? So if you're really still back at your country, wherever you are, and you haven't come to Canada yet, you're supposed to start planning right now, even before you get your PR. Once you've submitted and you've gotten that far, it's okay to start talking to people. Even when you get your PR, okay, you've gotten your PR and you haven't left yet, you're yet to book your ticket. It's as real as can be, like Eno said, like she had to wait until she saw the passport. So if you're like Eno, no problem. Once you get it, start doing what she did as well. Start talking to people and finding out what it is that you need. Decide on the kind of career that you want to have. Decide on the industry you want to get into. Start talking to people that are already there and start finding out the things you can do to get yourself ready before you come here, because that will save you a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of heartache, right? So that's what I can say about the steps I took before coming, because I found out that planning really helped me a lot. It helped me. In fact, the more you plan, the better for you. The more you plan, the better for you, really. So
that's so true. So true, Chichi. I cannot overemphasize how planning is so key. Because like you rightly said, I've met people who just had the notion of, oh, I've gotten the PR now. I'll get there. When I get there, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how you're here 6 months, 1 year without a plan, nothing figured out, and now you're looking for anything to survive.
Exactly. And they say, oh, when we get there, we just hustle it out. We just hustle. Anything that we see, we just do.
You truly start to hustle, and you truly start to struggle to survive, because
exactly.
So I met with someone, and then she wanted to move here, and I think she was a HR executive back in her home country, and she wanted to be a HR executive here. And I said, well, what are you doing about it? Have you contacted the HR body here in Canada? Are you an engineer? Have you contacted the engineering body? Have you contacted CPAs and accountants? What plans are you making towards, probably recertifying or switching your certification to a Canadian one, or getting a new certification, or joining the body, or volunteering with the body? Like, what plans are you making? If you're going to switch or you're transitioning, or you want to go to school, have you applied for the next sessions, classes, whether it's summer or spring? Do you want to be a full-time or part-time student? Like, making all those kind of plans
exactly
help you, so you don't come here and you're confused, so let's move it forward. So coming to Canada already and being here, I would say, because I had a plan, it was very easy for me to get a job in my first 2 to 3 weeks I was here already, because I already knew what I wanted. I started applying for jobs, and in my first few days, I already had interviews back to back. I was having coffee meetups with people I had connected with through LinkedIn and meetups and all those networking websites. So for me, because I knew what I wanted, it was easy for me to stay focused and just do the work. Unlike for a lot of people who they moved here, and because they didn't know what to do, people advised them on what they felt was the best line of work, so to say, and they find themselves stuck in something that they don't like, they don't love. They're just doing it just to get by.
Absolutely. Yeah. So for me, it was a bit different. Like I always say, everyone's story is not the same, just like you're going to just say now. Eno's story is really inspiring when it comes to, how some people have those stories. They come in and immediately they get something within a month or even in a week or 2 weeks, and it's all good. But sometimes you might even plan as well, and then you come in here and they might not be clicking as fast. There's probably something wrong somewhere. You probably don't have the interview skills right, or you don't have your resume right, or you're just not talking to the right people, or not applying to the right jobs or whatever. But it's okay to come in and within the first 1 month, if it's still not working out, you have your plan B, you have your plan C, you have people you're talking to. But most of the time, if you really have all this backup, most times, I don't want to say all the time because really nothing is definite, because there are facts of life and stuff, but most of the time, if you really do your homework, like Eno said, you'd at least you get something to start with until you get that exact thing that you want. Like you get something really okay to start with. When I came here, before I came, I was I wanted to do a short course, a short program. And so what I did initially was, even when I landed, I wasn't ready to work. I had just gotten married. I was just a few days after getting married that we moved. So I just wanted to rest. I just wanted to take a vacation at that point in time. The first 1 month was just rest because it's been really hectic before then. And when I decided I wanted to start looking out for something, I was already getting referred to jobs and interviews, even without me applying initially. And I ended up going for the one I preferred out of the offers I got at the time. Yes, I did apply, but my first interview was actually through referral. And that's where it comes down to when you network. If you network with people, you have people actually reaching out to you for positions in their workplace and things like that. And even when you become active on LinkedIn, you have people buzzing you. That all those things are things that and I will get into later. But for now, at that time, I wasn't ready to start working immediately. I wasn't really applying. But eventually, when I started getting in there to apply, I already started going for interviews before I even started applying, like I mentioned. And so when I started applying, the thing that I noticed that made me to get offers in any interview I went for was that I had to constantly come out of my shell and out of my comfort zone and be very confident, not arrogant or proud, but confident, right? Because that's one thing that I've also noticed, that we kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but sometimes I see people that are really good. They have good work experience. They have good background, educational background, and then they're just scared of the interview for whatever reason. Maybe it's because you feel like you're not at home. You think you're not in you don't know how they do it here in this country. You don't know what the interview is like. But really, they're just people. You're talking to people. If you understand how to have interviews, you're confident in what it is that you have, like the experience that you have and how to present yourself, it's going to be easy to talk. And at the end of the day, you might walk out of the interview just realizing you had a conversation and you guys probably look for something in common to connect with the person on. And we can talk about interviews as a topic another day. But really, having that confidence in an interview I went in for, and knowing how to present myself and knowing exactly what to talk about and how to answer questions were things that really helped me. So I wasn't scared of not being without a job. At any point I wasn't working was because I wasn't ready to work yet. Because when I started working towards actually getting a job, I did get offers and I chose. And then I started working at first, and then I decided to, you know what, I want to go back to school. The program wasn't starting up until January. So when I went for the program, which was a BI program, I went for it, and it was more or less getting my analytics skills up to date, and just, and that's another thing. Some people might want to go back to school, or might need to go back to school, or might not even need to go back to school at all. You might, if you actually, for me, if I feel like if you have an experience in something for a while, you might not even really need to go back to school. But if you feel like, okay, you need to just shift a bit into a different career or something, then you might want to brush up if you want. Apart from that, we're in the age where you can even learn all kinds of things online on Udemy, or you can get your skills updated there, and you might not even have to go back to school. Sorry? YouTube. Oh yeah, YouTube is one of that's like the the king of them all. YouTube is so amazing. Like, how to what? You just put it there. You see tons of video. Yeah, you be the one to choose what you really like, the one that appeals to you. There's so much to learn on YouTube. So you can actually come here, get into your career and what you want to do without actually even going back to school. So it all depends on your choice and the path you want to follow. Eno is one of the people that did that. There's a lot of people that did that. I didn't do it. So that goes to tell you that there are different paths to getting to where it is you want to go to. But don't feel like because you're coming into a new country, oh, they said you have to go to school here for you to be recognized. I don't think it's exactly true. It does help. It does help to an extent, but if you still don't have all those other parts together, like having your confidence level to the way it's supposed to be, knowing how to present yourself, going for having your resume right and putting everything together, knowing how to talk about it, like you probably will still not get the kind of job you want to get, even if you go to school. I've seen cases like that. I've seen cases like that even after going to school. Still, really, nothing really shows up. There are all kinds of factors that might come into play, but just know that you have your options open and you just have to have your plan down. I cannot overemphasize that plan thing. Have your plan down and know, okay, this is not working. Okay, let me shift to plan 2. It's not working, let me shift to plan 3. But have your plan down. So let me not take it all up. You can continue. And what's the next thing you're supposed to talk about?
So really, I like what you said about, going to school or not going to school. Like some people ask me, oh, I want to go to school. I'm like, fine, if you feel you need to go back to school, that's fine. For me, I just felt like, I think I've done all the schooling I want to do. I don't want to go back and spend another 2 years in school. I know the career path I want to take. All I need to do is have the required work experience and education, which I do. I have my certification. I have all the skills required. I did apply before moving here. I applied to SAIT. I got 2 admissions, one for business intelligence, the other one was for IT, and then the certificate course. And then I declined those admissions because I got a job in about 2 or 3 weeks. I'm like, I don't think I need to go back to school anyways. But for me, I always tell people, if you feel you need to go back to school, that's fine. Like if you're coming here and you're changing to a totally new career, that's fine. You can go back to school. But if you have the required work experience and you're just going back to what you're used to doing, then sure, you don't need to go back to school. Just brush yourself up, prep yourself for the interviews, get your resume up to standard,
right.
Talk to people in the industry, find out what's trending in the industry and all that. So for me, you talked about confidence. I like to say that for me, I never used to be that very confident. I used to be very shy, very timid. Like, I never want to be out in front, but I found that in recent times, I've been able to build my confidence. But a lot of it I would like to say is because I kind of had good mentors. So when I moved here, there were people that, I reached out to, connected with, and, they really helped me. Because talking to them, they saw that, oh, I did have great potential. So they kind of boosted my morale, made me believe in myself a lot more, give me that confidence, when I had interviews, I'll talk to them, they would prep me, and that made me just feel better. And also their stories also inspired me because, hearing their stories about, when they moved to Canada and where they are now, I just wanted to be like them. Like, how can I be like you? So those kind of people also helped me to boost my confidence and make my journey, my career journey even faster because I kind of had the right advice. So that helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Talking about advice, though.
I was about saying that right now.
Drum roll.
But wait, let me say something about what you said before we go into advice. So there's something you said about you used to be very timid and all. Someone might be listening to us right now and they're saying, oh, I don't have the confidence to do all these things. I'm not so sure of myself and all those things. We'll get into probably have a topic on that later.
Sure.
But the one thing I'm going to say is that when it comes to confidence, I don't think anyone has it all together 100%. Even me that is talking about confidence. Because before I got to a point where I can just come out anywhere and say anything, I used to be, if I say my mom doesn't agree, nobody around me agrees now. They don't believe me anymore, but they know when it used to be. I used to be very shy, and I used to just want to stay behind the curtain. And please just don't disturb me behind that curtain. I'm okay here, even in the dark. We are fine. just leave us here. But over time, I realized you kind of miss a lot of opportunities and certain things if you're just not that person that comes out to speak. I'm not saying be all over everybody's face or anything, but if you have opinions and you have things you want to talk about and share, have conversations, meet people, at some point you're going to realize you're missing out on a lot by not being expressive. You don't have to change your personality to be confident. You can still be that introverted person, but you can still be confident, because when it's time to talk, you talk. It's okay to also get to a point where you realize that, okay, right now I don't have this figured out. I think I need to talk to someone that I know. That it's always good to have someone in your corner that can actually bump you up, just like Eno said. Sometimes I'm that for some people, and sometimes I need some people to actually be that for me. Sometimes I know I can do this, but I start doubting myself, right? And then that's where people that are really in your corner come in and tell you, Choma, you have this covered, you can do this. And there's nothing as important as that. So even if you're introverted or shy, or I don't even want to use the word introverted, because some people are introverted and they're still quite outspoken and confident. But if you think you used to be that, you are that kind of person that is shy and you just don't want to go out there, you don't think you can even express yourself the way you want to express yourself, then you have to start thinking about someone in your corner. Or if you don't, go and find someone that can actually get you from being down and not wanting to talk and not wanting to actually express yourself as much as you want to that kind of person you want to be. So find someone like that. And just find this. It's going to be someone. Just think about it, and maybe someone will come to your mind, and talk to the person, and have them there when you need that boost. It helps. And at some point, you realize you can do this on your own. And you're running on your own. And you don't need someone to. But once in a while, you need that boost, but it won't be as often anymore. That's something I found that helps with me. Yeah.
And of course, something we're going to talk about sometime later is also being a woman in the corporate environment. It kind of helped me boost my confidence way back, because I was young, I was around a lot of men, and sometimes there's some corporate bullying where you realize you actually have to stand up for yourself and be confident. And that kind of helps me be able to speak up and, be less shy and timid. But then, like you said, having someone in your corner is like, it's 100. Like, you must always have somebody you can always talk to, run to, somebody that always boost your confidence, because everybody needs a mentor. Everybody does need a mentor.
Absolutely.
So, talking about advice. What did I not hear when I moved to Canada?
And let's start with you. I think you had more advice than me, sir.
Do nothing.
Nothing. Mm-hmm. No, that's one that was supposed to say the first.
Healthcare aid, disability worker, call center, sales associate, security, what else? Of course, go back to school, go and get a fresh degree. Canada doesn't recognize Nigerian degrees. Just to name a few. I'll talk about all other ones when I remember. So yeah, those were a few of the advices I got. And if I wasn't determined that I still wanted to do what I always wanted to do, what I love doing, I would have easily been swayed to other people's choices for my life instead of my own choices. And I always tell myself, I am the driver's seat of my life. I'm running this. The people are not going to drive this for me or anybody else. I'm going to drive this car, which is my life. And I know what I want. And then the thing is, I politely told them, okay, no problem. They send me links and I say, okay, no problem, I've heard you. But I knew what I always wanted to do. And I wasn't going to let that deter me, So, and that's why I just kept working hard at everything I was doing, my applications, networking, going out for the interviews. Like, I just kept grinding because I knew what I wanted to do. And I didn't want people to say, we told you. But I find that with a lot of people that are falling into this trap is because they didn't have a plan. They're clueless, start paying their bills, because the truth is, once you get in here, the bills start. So because they need to start paying their bills, their bank account is running low, they find themselves taking up any advice because they need anything to pay their bills.
Absolutely.
So that's why planning comes very handy.
Yeah. So let me be a bit let's be as open as we can. First of all, all the things that I mentioned, they are all legit, very okay work. It's nothing wrong with that though, really. But it's when like you said, if you're confused and you're not even sure that's what you want to do and you're doing it because because someone advised you and it wasn't even in your plan. If they advise you and it's in line with what you are planning to do and you like it, it's okay. It's okay to listen to those advices. But one thing I want to share about mine was I heard all kinds of things like for me, because I was a chartered accountant in Nigeria, I wanted to convert to my CPA here and see whether I wanted to go more finance or more business analyst. But at the time, before I came, I had people telling me, "Oh, CPA, oh, it's there are a lot of CPAs here that don't have jobs and all those kind of things." And I was like, "That's fine. I've not decided that's exactly what I want to do anyway, but it's a skill set that I'm so glad that I have." But then on the other hand, I had people saying, "Oh, okay, I think I've told Eno about going into cybersecurity."
Oh, that's another thing that's trending here. Yeah.
Yeah, going into cybersecurity and all that. And I actually applied and I got the admission. But I was having a conversation with someone there and I said, this is too technical. I don't think I want to go into this bit. And I declined it. And I decided to go for, because I got 2 admissions as well. I decided to go for this one. And this is exactly what it is I really wanted to do, because I did a lot of reports at my former place of work when it comes to, using data and stuff like that. And it was really interesting. And I did a BA work as well, but of course, BI is the perspective under BA as well. Like it's part of BA work. So it was something that it gave me a better perspective when I did the program. But my point is, I was the one that chose that program for myself. I got to a point where I decided, okay, this is more or less more like what I want to do. And if I had gone into cybersecurity personally, I would have been very frustrated because it was so technical. And I have a couple of, let's not go into people that are doing that, complain or whatever, but some people do it and they like it. It's what they want to do. And they go into it and they're having fun. Like and then they come out and they get the kind of jobs that they want. But it's not for everybody, right? And anyone some people advise you based on what they think is good for you, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be good for you. You're the only one that would really know what is good for you at the end of the day. If you really search yourself, you really know what exactly you enjoy. And even if you want to switch careers when you come here, let's say you used to be a banker, right? You come here, you want to be a nurse. Make sure that you're going into nursing because you want to be a nurse, not because that someone told you that that's the only way you can make a lot of money here, and that the health industry is very stable. Yes, it is, but it's not the only way you can make money here. There are other things, a lot of things you can do that can help you to be more comfortable when you're here. There are all kinds of things. So you have to be sure you have your plan out right. I know I keep saying plan. It's because it's important. It's very important. Because like Eno said, if you don't have a plan, you get swayed. Anyone they now tell you, you now enter and you do it. But it's not exactly what is good for you. And another thing too about information here is, if you have the right information late, it probably would have cost you money or you would have lost time because you didn't hear about it on time. So even if you're getting advice, make sure you're choosing the right advice. So you sieve it and then you take the one that is more applicable to the plan that you have for yourself, right? So I think that's all I can say for that for now. But yes, I would have probably been in cybersecurity right now. I thought I'll still be in school. I wouldn't be working right now if I had gone through that path. I remember really wanting to do it, but I searched to myself. I'm like, no, this is not what I want. This is really not what I want. And I would have almost been swayed if I didn't have my plan A, plan B, plan C. I'm so glad I ended up where I ended up. It was just the best decision, really. So still have a plan. And even though you're listening to people, no matter how trusted, because what happened with that was it came from someone I really, really trusted, one of the most trusted people I actually knew. And they are saying it from a place of love and care and you know, or anything good. Do you understand? But at the end of the day, you still have to choose what it is that you really want for yourself, because they are not the ones that will live that life for you or do that work for you when the time comes. You're the one. So still say, oh, thank you so much, but you don't even have to explain to them whether you're going to take it or not, but just thank them and move on, and then you decide on what it is that you want to do when you want to do it. And when you excel in what you decide to do, they won't even come to say, oh, Shiba, I told you. Just whatever it is that you want to do, stick to it and get it done right. Be excellent at it and get it done right. Just stick to it, because when you end up getting the kind of job you want or going into that area and you're doing well, they won't even remember that they advised you and you did not take it. I'm telling you, they won't remember. You know, they probably won't remember. They will just, in fact, they will say, oh, I remember when I was advising how. They might not even remember that they advised you against what you're doing, but they will want to associate with your success. They want to say, oh, I remember when I was telling her what to do. I remember now. I'm so glad she's doing so well now. You know, so at the end of the day, still choose what you want to do and go for it.
Yeah, I agree, Choma. And for me, what kind of hurts me the most is when I see people who are professionals, you know, they have lots of years of experience, you know, they have a first degree, you know, postgraduate, you know, and then, you know, they're doing, you know, non-professional jobs not because they want to, but because, you know, situation or because they were advised.
Yeah.
It's kind of hurtful that some people feel just because that's what they did, you have to also go through that path of, you know, starting from what, you know, people term as, you know, survival or transitional jobs, you know, before they can get, if they do, because some people get stuck, you know, in those jobs.
Yeah.
So that kind of hurts me. And that's why anyone I come across, I try to let them know, I believe in you, and I believe you can do better if you actually put in the work and do everything required, because I don't believe it's a hopeless situation. You know, the most you can do is probably go back to school, if required, and then of course when you do that, you know, you get the grants and all that from government, and you get back into the workforce, you know, your corporate job, you know, than having to, you know,
going into it exactly a different field that is just not going to, you're not in any career path per se.
Yeah. So for me, I just want to talk about some things briefly that I feel like have helped me so far. First of all, it's a lot of things, and there are things that of course we'll have to talk about in detail as time goes. But I'd just like to talk about communication skills, having very good communication skills, having a great personality, being personable, being able to have a chit chat with people. Canadians like small talk, you know, talk about the weather, talk about grab a cup of coffee, talk about your favorite kind of coffee, you know, talk about your vacation, your family. Canadians are like that. They like this kind of talk, right? So being able to communicate right and appropriately, very key. Then something like talk about is also, you know, getting your resume right for the job you're applying for, getting it proper Canadian looking resume, not the resume that's applicable to your country, applicable for the Canadian work system. Interview skills, being able to express yourself as regards your experience, as regards your personality, and why you're the best fit for that role. Very important. Another thing I'd like to talk about is that helps me is networking. Networking with people from, you know, I LinkedIn meetups, you know, I joined the IIBA Calgary chapter, going for networking meetups as well. You know, meet up with people I used to chat with on LinkedIn, joining meetups through the meetups app, you know, Facebook, so many places where you can meet people, because you never know where you could get that referral from. Here in Canada, referral is like, it's so good for you if you can get a referral for a job. You know, then it's up to you to prove yourself through the interviews or whatever. That helps. You know, also having a mentor or mentors have helped me, because the truth is sometimes you need to ask questions. Who do you ask the questions? Your mentor will always help you because they don't want to see you fail. They don't want you to make mistakes, and you know, having someone to guide you kind of helps you. And lastly, okay, second to the last, is continuous learning. So I'd never stopped improving myself in my field with everything I needed to be. I knew that I wanted to always be the best version of myself every day. And how could I do that? Just continuously improving myself. What's trending in my industry? What's latest in my industry? I need to know. So reading the right articles, joining the right membership societies, or your body's chapter, subscribing to their newsletters, the appropriate articles or blogs or LinkedIn groups or channels that you should join that would benefit you, getting lessons on Udemy, YouTube, paying for courses out of pocket, because you just want to improve yourself. And I tell people this a lot. When people complain about spending money to improve themselves, I laugh, because everything I had done for myself as regards my education after my first degree was all self-sponsored. But it didn't bother me, because I knew that I was investing in myself. It was, besides on the certificate, it's going to be my name.
Exactly.
And forever. And that's my investment. And I'm very proud of every certificate that I have today, because I know I worked hard for it. I paid for it and I worked hard. Sleepless nights and days just to achieve success. And that's a big deal for me. So that, and then the last thing was, of course, keying into my faith. So everybody believes in something, and I believe in a supreme being. And I've always known that if I believe and key into the vision that my supreme being has for me, my purpose on earth, that for sure I will see success. And the last thing.
This is the third last thing now.
I know.
I'm counting.
Yes, I know. It is service to others, helping other people. I tell people you learn better when you're teaching people, when you're helping people, serving other people. There's nothing like service to you. Doing something for someone that the person is not going to pay you for it. You're doing it, voluntarily, but you're enjoying what you're doing. And you never know, somebody's watching you. I've gotten great opportunities just because of my volunteering efforts, so you can never underestimate the fact of that, helping people, serving others is something that could help you. You never know, so those are a few things that I think has helped me this far, that I feel like if other people can also imbibe this, it would really, really help them as well.
Okay, so Eno has succeeded in wiping out all the points I have here, because I didn't share it with her. And it's so unfortunate, because I didn't want to interrupt her, because she was on a roll, right? So I didn't want to interrupt her. So I think I should just go to bed now. And there's nothing else again for me to say now. But I was even holding on to volunteering. I said, okay, she has picked up everything. Now let me hold those. Then she now finished with helping others. It's not the same thing volunteering. That's finished now.
No, finished. No, Choma, just share yours. It doesn't matter. Even if it's the same, the experience went from mine.
Don't mind me. I'll still share. But we sure had a lot in common. That's why I'm saying. And that's why I'm crying. But it's fine. Okay, so for me, one of the things I realized that really helped me, I've already shared a bit already, which was confidence, not being anxious when you meet people, having your pitch. So everyone has a pitch. Unfortunately, today I was out of my game a bit. I didn't really have my pitch on in the beginning. So if you're here till now, it's good you're here. But I didn't have my pitch on from the beginning, unfortunately. But it's good to have your pitch. Have the pitch about who you are and what it is that you do in a short time, just so you can make that good impression. That's one of the things I feel like has really helped me. Because when I meet some people that I'm just seeing for the first time, and let's say, for example, I already targeted you because you're in a company I want to work for example. I hope some people are not listening to this. I kind of have a pitch that I always go for, and I use it to present myself, and then might just be the only interaction I have with the person. But I've always had feedback of people that know those same people. I'm like, oh God, I know that girl. I like the way she does this, and I didn't talk to them for up to 5 minutes. So having your pitch really helps. So if you can be able to articulate what it is that you do, and kind of have a way of breaking it down in a short time, that will help, especially when you go for networking events, like as mentioned, networking. But I don't know if you mentioned networking events, but when you go for networking events and when you meet people, even if it's not networking events, anywhere really, and you meet people, it's always good to be able to introduce yourself in a professional way, and those are things that can come in very handy in networking events. And when you go for networking events, and let's say, for example, it's a place where you have a list of companies that you know that they are coming there, you should also have your own list of companies. So let's say you're already here in Canada, or even if you're planning to move, and you start researching on the companies that you want to work for when you come here. If you have the list of companies you want to work for, what that does for you is that you're unconsciously and consciously aware of those companies. And so when you come into a conversation that might not even be in a networking event, it might just be, oh, I went to see my friend and then I met my friend's brother. And then my friend's brother is telling me that his friend works in so and so company. You see the connection I just made. Now, there and then, it's very informal and it's a very relaxed environment. You can easily pitch, oh, I'd like to talk to your friend, please. Right? And there and then, even if you don't have, if the person, you don't go and ask the person for your job right away, of course, but you should be able to, you can just say, oh, I heard that you work for, introduce yourself. Oh, I heard of you from so and so person. I hear you work with so and so company. It's such a wonderful company I would like to work for. How is it like working there? What do you do there? And start having those kind of conversations. And then you try to make that person your own friend or connection in quotes, right? So what that does is, one day, like she mentioned also about referral, I'm just trying to tie it together as much as I can and put it into a story. So when you come across a job somewhere on LinkedIn, or someone, the person you even talk to might even say, oh, I remember I talked to you so and so time, and you are interested in working in my company, and I'm seeing this role that is similar to what you might be interested in. Do you want to apply for it? And that person can easily be your referral. So from networking indirectly and all these things kind of happened because you are aware of the kind of companies you want to work for. I'm not just making up a story, actually. I'm talking about myself. It's not exactly the same way it happened right now, but the opportunity, some of the opportunities I've had is because I was aware of where I wanted to work, or at least I've been able to articulate what it is I do and what I want to do, such that when someone sees a similar role or something in that particular company, they remember you and they tell you about it. And you can and that's another thing also about being intentional. And you see yourself working towards that path that it is that you actually created for yourself, or you dreamt of, or you wanted. And it's all about being aware. But if you don't have a list of companies that you're looking forward to working, if someone mentions, oh, my friend works in so and so company, so nothing will click in your head. You just hear, oh, he works, and then that's it. You might not even think to connect with the person, because first, you don't even know what the company does, and you don't even know if it's what applies to you. So that's something I'll really encourage anyone out there that is trying to get something. Have your list of companies, do your research, have an Excel sheet where you have whether you have a contact there or not, so that when the time comes and someone mentions it, or if you're talking to someone, like, you can even intentionally go out and ask people that you already know, do you know someone that works in so company? Please, can you introduce me to that person? I just want to know what they do and what the company is like. I just want to build my network. And you don't have to wait for it to come to you. You can also go for it. And that's another thing, going out of your comfort zone and going for what it is that you want and being persistent about it. So most people are busy, especially when they are working here. People have different things that they are doing. So because you reached out to someone once and the person did not answer you, if the person has said something like, please, can you remind me in a week or so, set it as a reminder on your phone. Don't forget, because if you don't set it as a reminder, that week or so might come and go. And then when you remember, it is 3 weeks down the line and you're like, I don't know if it's still okay for me to call this person. The person might even be like, this person is not serious. I told the person to remind me in a week or so. People have things that they are doing. Set that reminder, call that person, and then follow up. And they might still be busy. And they'll be like, oh, okay, we may not be able to meet tomorrow, but we can meet next week. Set it as a reminder on your phone. Use your phone. It's a device. It has so much it can do for you. Set that reminder. You want to do so, set that reminder. Because when you're persistent, the person will almost want to meet with you. Those are for people that actually want to meet with you but don't have the time. Or if someone is just not interested and they blow you off, that's fine. Move on to someone else. You're going to see someone else that will want to help you. But if it's someone that is just genuinely busy and that they want to help you and they want to make out that time, be the one to go for it and remind them as subtly as possible, but still remind them, oh, you said I should remind you, so and so, that you still available. Oh, and go for those meetups. Don't be scared to meet people, have conversations, and actually go there to learn from them. And then when you're learning from them, interact. When you interact, they kind of see the way you think, and they'll take interest in you, and they'll want to help you further. And when something comes up that will be okay, they will still let you know. Some people might even let you know before the position is even made public. That now goes to down to how the kind of impression that you made, right? And when you want to make connections, don't make connection based on what I can get out of that person. What can you give back to the person? So if you're discussing with someone and the person is telling you about certain things that they're interested in, and you see something that you think the person will be interested in, and let's say it's connected to the topics that he's reading, you can send it. Oh, what do you think about this? You know, and or if it's something like you're helping the person out, or okay, person says, oh, I wish I could actually attend so and so event or whatever, and then you have a way of actually saying, oh, I know someone that's, so how you can get a ticket. I don't know, but whatever it is, really look for how you can give back to the person, how you can help that person. Don't just be looking to take. I want to get from the person. Get. Look for how, yeah. Most of us just go for networking. I want job.
When we talk about mentorship, don't be a selfish mentee. You know, don't be all about yourself.
Exactly.
That's so wrong. That's so wrong.
It's so wrong.
With your mentor or whoever that you know that is coaching you, or whoever you're having a meeting with, leave a lasting impression, and you know, send a thoughtful message or whatever based on your conversation with that person. Strike a common ground and show that you actually care about the person. You know, you know, birthdays, anniversaries, whatever. Connect on social media so that you can always get those kind of alerts. Like there's so many ways, so many ways to actually show appreciation to people that you never know where it can take you to.
Yeah, because if you have the mindset of, oh, I want a job, oh, I want this from this person, oh, I want, the person will sense it. Even if they don't sense it, they'll know that this person is just out to get something from me, and it makes the person, they won't be as comfortable with you as if they knew that it was a mutually beneficial relationship. So you have to go out of your way to. So for example, I met someone that literally told me, I don't just want to, like, she told me, next time I would like to hear you talk. I was sharing, I won't go into the story right now but I want to hear you talk next time. Like I know I have other things to learn from you. I don't want to just be the mentor that is, you know, always giving to you. Like I want to also learn from you. And that was because I already shared some things with her that she realized, okay, I really want to learn from this girl. Like she thinks differently. She actually told me I think differently. So my point is, if you have to be able to put yourself out there to share your experiences and be able to look for ways that you can impact the person. You might even be inspiring your mentor. Really, you should, like, you have that it's not a one-way relationship. It has to be both ways. So when I'm looking for, if I'm looking for a mentor, for example, I'm looking for someone that I can help out, and someone that can also help me out. It cannot be one way. I need to be able to talk to you and connect with you on a level that I feel like, okay, I can really have the conversations with this person. I can learn from this person. I can also show myself, like I can also teach this person from whatever my experiences have been so far, because we are all so different, right? So look for where you can give back. And then let me not behave like another. I'll be saying last. And then
you said your thing.
But what'd you say?
You put 5 topics together.
Yeah. But let me see. I want to see if there's anything else that I am missing. I've mentioned great already. But and I really finished my point. I told you people, and I finished everything. Next time I'll go first. I'll go first next time.
Take the show.
No, it's fine.
But it's been a good session. It's been a good time, and it just shows that, you know, when you have that mindset, you know, things just work that way for you. You know, because a lot of things you said are things that are in my head. You know, things that I've experienced, and I always share with people, and I still want to share, you know, in further episodes of this show. But you know, it's for me. I just want to wrap up here. You know.
And sorry, before you wrap up, just one last thing I feel like is really important.
Okay, sure.
You mentioned like mindset. I was about to go to say something about just a short explanation on mindset.
Oh yeah,
So
please.
I wasn't going to call it mindset, but I was going to call it like, setting the goal that you want for yourself and going ahead to achieve it. But to be able to achieve something, you actually have to believe that you can anyway. So one of the easy things I usually do is, let's say, for example, I want to start a job with so company. I've already shared about having your list of companies, but another thing I also didn't share was writing down when I want to work, how much I want to be earning, and all that. And then what that has taught me over time is that when I write something down, I say I want something within this range, it always happens that way. And I come back and tell myself, Choma, you have to dream bigger and bigger. So what if I had written way more than this? It probably would have happened. So having your list, your list, like having your diary or your journal where you write down things that you want, or even having a vision board. I have a vision board. I have a vision board where I have pictures of things that I want, and some have come through, some haven't. In fact, the one I wrote in 2017, everything has happened except one, and that one is in progress, but every single thing has happened. So actually being able to like target what it is that you want, writing it down. As really mentioned, your faith. So for me, I'm a Christian, and so when you have your Bible, you have a place in Proverbs that says, let me not misquote, but you have a place in the Bible that says that when you have your dreams and you write it down, the angels will run with it. And are you aware? Are you aware of it?
Oh yeah. So of course that's something that, having a vision board, your affirmations,
Things like that.
I'm
They
gonna
really
still
help.
talk about my story on how affirmations have worked for me, having a vision board, writing it down, setting a date and timeline to things and events in my life, and how everything plays out. So
Oh yeah, we are going to go into that later, but I just felt
yeah.
this touch on it. But that's really a really key thing on the journey of the journey I've been on so far and getting to where I am. It's just because I didn't just say, oh, I want this. I actually write it down. I put it in a place, like I carry it around in my purse all the time. I have put it in a place I can usually easily see it if it's the vision board I'm talking about. But actually being able to articulate what it is, you write it down. And then you now, because what that happens, what that does to you is that when you do it once, you realize that it actually works. Of course, you have to work towards it. But you're conscious of it. And then over time, you would expand the way your mind thinks. Your mindset, your mindset is now firm, and you start expanding and growing from the last thing that you wished, and you start saying, oh, if this was possible, this much is small, something bigger is possible, something bigger is possible, and it all comes into play from there. So yeah, I think that kind of wraps it up for me. I look forward to the next episode. And you can wrap it up from here. Yeah, you can go ahead and wrap up right now. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I was still gonna give you a chance to wrap it up, but that's fine. But for me, I just want to say, 1 year in Canada, it's been super amazing. Do I have any regrets? No. Is it a yay or a nay? It's a yay for me. 2 thumbs up to everything that I've experienced, everything I'm going through. And I would just like to say that for anyone who's considering moving to Canada, or you're already in Canada and you find that everything we've said kind of, makes a difference to you, or you can relate to it, or it's helping you make some decisions, just be intentional about anything you want to do. Live a purposeful life. If you want to do something, you desire it, then you have to achieve it. Set timelines, do everything you need to do to achieve your career goals and even your personal goals as well. So for me, 1 year has been great. Looking forward to another year. It's been from one achievement to another, and that's only because I've been intentional about what I wanted to do. I've just said to live a purposeful life, and of course, doing some things along the way, which I'm very open to sharing with anybody who cares to listen to this. And the same thing with Chioma. So thank you for anybody who's listened to this. It's been an amazing time with you, Chioma. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm so glad. And if you're listening to this, then you're one of the lucky people. You should listen more often and share your ideas on things you want us to talk about later. I wish I had something like this when we moved. It would have been so helpful. I know, but it's good if you're hearing it now and it's of help to you. Share to your friends, the ones that are still coming, still planning on coming. Anyone that's actually thinking of coming to Canada, even if they haven't started the process, they have to start thinking in a certain way for them to actually be able to make headway here. So it's so good to have you guys on board. It's so good to be able to share my experience. It's an honor, it's a privilege, and I don't take it for granted. So thanks, Eno. Yeah.
All right, bye.
Bye, guys. Later.